Hey, it's just me on my lonesome, abandoned. James is away in the Ukraine. You might have seen pictures of him on social media, dressed up like it's midwinter. Well, it is winter, isn't it? But yes, he does look like he's on a skiing trip. He's got so many clothes on. It's quite funny. Anyway, so I'm on my own. Did you miss me last week? I took a week off. I needed a week off. You don't want to hear about it. It wasn't good stuff. But I'm back. I'm here. And to make up for the fact that I haven't got James, I've got two guests this week instead of one, right? So I will feel fulfilled again. And my guests this week are people that we work with regularly, and I love to work and recommend people that I know and love and trust. These guys are the co-founders of Ready Steady Websites. This is an off-the-shelf website and membership site template service. They launched Ready Steady Websites in 2019, and it's already hugely successful, even through the pandemic. So, but they've been running a successful digital company, Second Floor Designs, since 2010. So they knew what they were doing. They are husband and wife team, Chris and Jude Wharton. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Looking very pretty in pink, Jude.
Thank you. Yeah, pink's not my normal colour, but I got recommended that pink was good for my colour tones recently, so I've gone for it.
And actually, colour's important when you're talking about websites, isn't it? I'm going to digress a little bit, but colour's important, isn't it? And having a good colour palette.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it comes all the way from sort of branding all the way through to the website, really. It's good to have an accent colour, as we say, something that people will see as a definition of your brand, and they'll see everywhere, and they'll automatically associate it to you and your brand.
Fantastic. So listen, you had a successful digital company. You were doing great. Why did you create Ready Steady Websites?
Well, there were a few different factors, but the main one was that we had found ourselves working with a lot of entrepreneurs, mainly solopreneurs, predominantly female entrepreneurs, who were coming to us for a website, and they were essentially asking for the same website over and over again. And they didn't really need something bespoke. They didn't really have the budget to be getting something bespoke, but they knew the importance of investing in their business. And so they were kind of pushing themselves and thinking, yeah, I'm going to go for this. And after we'd done a few of these websites, we sort of had a chat and we just thought, this is silly. Like, we understand why they're not going the completely DIY route, because they want something a bit more special than that. They also didn't feel that they really had the skills or the knowledge to go completely on their own, and knew they'd need a bit of hand holding, a bit of support. And we felt that we could create a template service that would provide a website that really looked professional. We could do it in a way that the templates were still designed specifically for each business niche, and so they had that sort of more bespoke website feel. We could provide them with that more personalized support than they would get from one of the other template DIY services. And so we started to create Ready Steady Websites.
And actually, you created it after I had already worked with you guys in the digital company. And I did spend a lot of money on my website, which I'm thrilled about. And I love my website. So there's no complaints there. But what was wonderful is that when you created this templated version, that we started to collaborate to sell this to speakers, because we collaborated anyway to say this is what's needed. And we'll talk a bit more about that. Because it actually, your websites, even though they're templated, they are all so unique. You would not know that they are templated at all.
Yeah, I mean, that was the kind of key, really. So obviously there are things like Squarespace and Wix, and you can go completely do it for DIY and get it off sort of theme for us and get WordPress themes and that kind of stuff. But actually to find something that actually fulfilled all of your needs as if it was basically made for you seemed to be missing from the market, which is why we came up with each of these templates. So they've each been treated as if they were an individual client. So the amount of design time, the amount of research time, and obviously we collaborated with you on one of the templates, and we've done the same for other people in other niches. So we really made sure that what we were creating had everything that someone needed. So it was really kind of like website in a box, but because they're so specifically designed for each niche, it feels like a custom site. And that's what we hope when people sign up to Ready Steady Websites and release their website. Not only will it look unique to them, but also it will look like they've spent thousands and thousands of pounds having it done when actually they only spent hundreds.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a really, really great product. Let's just go through which people you've created these templates for. So obviously we've done it for speakers. You've also done it for, you mentioned solopreneurs.
Yeah, so we've got a couple in that sort of field. We've got the coach template and we've got the entrepreneur template. So yeah, both of those sort of cater for those female entrepreneurs that we were finding ourselves working with naturally.
Yeah, we've got some wellness related ones, so a therapist one, a wellness one, and a fitness one as well. Then we've got some creative ones. So we've got a photographer one, a creative one, a small business one, which kind of picks up all the kind of small businesses. We've got a foodie one, which we released just at the beginning of the pandemic when all the restaurants shut. So that wasn't ideal.
Takeaways. There were lots of takeaways.
Yeah.
Online shop, an author template, which is a newish one, and an influencer template, and a podcaster template. So there's 14 altogether.
Oh, there's a few there I didn't know about. I'm going to have to investigate the author, the influencer, and the podcast one. Very interesting.
They are very new. So they were launched just last month. And again, we've collaborated with people on those. So we are working with a local influencer who is the first person who will be using that template. She's building her site now on it. The author one, we're so lucky that some of our current members are authors. So we worked with a couple of them and their publishing house on that one. So that was really good to get the feedback from them as well. So yeah, for each of the templates, we've put in that same level of research and talking to the professionals in the industries and just making sure they are going to be what people need.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm going to go back a step actually, because we've got all these website templates and people may be saying to themselves, do I really need a website? I always say yes, for speakers you should have a website, but does everybody really need a website? Aren't we just going to have, isn't every individual, every child, every dog, every cat, is everybody going to have a website? Do we all need them?
We don't have any dog or cat templates.
We don't have. Yes.
Need a dog template.
I mean, the short answer is yes. You do need a website, and the main reason is because you can't rely on the social platforms that you think are the kind of foundation for your business. I know a lot of people kind of promote the idea of, you don't need a website, just pop it on Facebook or just get Instagram. But what happens with these kind of things is I've heard in the last week or so, two major entrepreneurs who have had their Facebook account shut down and Instagram account shut down permanently. And they've lost 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 people who would have seen their stuff. They do have websites, but if they didn't, they'd be absolutely stuffed at the moment.
Yeah, and I think a website gives that extra layer of professionalism as well. I think anybody can go and chuck themselves on social media and go, I do this, so I'm a speaker, I'm an author, and come and see what I do and look at my stuff. But I think if you have invested that time, effort and money in getting a really good website, it adds a layer of professionalism to your business. It shows people that you're serious about what you do. It shows you're going to be sticking around for a while because you put that investment in there. So you're obviously serious about what you're doing. And so it is a really good way of showcasing what you do in the way that people are going to look at it and take it seriously, I think.
And not only that, it just makes it easy to buy stuff as well. It's much easier to buy stuff from a website than it is from other platforms.
And from a speaker point of view as well, on our speaker template, you've got your press page, so that it's really easy for the press and people that you're going to be doing speaking events for to go and get all the bits to promote it. And it's just all little things like that are so much easier if you have your own website.
I mean, the point you made actually at the beginning there, Chris, about the fact that, we do rely on websites that are, hosted and owned by other people. We have no control. We do have no control. And you mentioned, people losing their accounts. I actually witnessed that from somebody this week myself. I don't think it's the same person, but that is a problem. You never know. And of course the rules change and the reach can change. And it's just, there's a lot. You want to be in control if you're a control freak, right?
Well, just for the longevity of your business, really, you should be having a website that's generating money and also increasing your email list all the time.
Yeah, perfect. Brilliant. Okay, so listen, I love this question that I'm going to ask you next. I love to know what mistakes people make, because I can usually tick them off and say, I've done that in the past. Tell me the biggest mistakes or the most common mistakes you see when it comes to websites.
I mean, there are a lot. One of my biggest bugbears is when you come to somebody's website and you go on their homepage and it's not obvious what they do, or you can kind of get a sense of what they do, perhaps from their business name, but they've launched into this sort of autobiography about their life and why they're in business, and that their grandfather started the business 500 years ago. And it's nothing about their ideal client. It's nothing about how they can help you. It's nothing about all the fantastic things that they have on offer. And so they're losing leads straight away, because the homepage really should be about, this is what I do, this is how I can help you, and this is kind of how you're going to feel at the end of it, to draw people in. And so a waffly homepage that has no clear direction, is all me, and isn't necessarily clear what the business is about, is one of my biggest bugbears when I go to a website.
Yeah, from a kind of technical perspective, a lot of people seem to forget that people visit their site on a mobile. So they'll have it looking lovely on desktop, and then you load it up on a mobile and it doesn't work. Text is off the screen, images are too big, videos are too big. You can't scroll. You've got 1,000 pop-ups which you can't get rid of. And then, and if it's slow on mobile as well, people will get fed up instantly and just ditch it. So it's one of the things that we see. A lot of people think they've got a wonderful website and they look at it on mobile. It does not work at all.
And that's really key, because more people are browsing on mobile phones now than any other kind of device. So if your website is not working well on a mobile phone, or like Chris said, if a pop-up comes up as soon as you hit the homepage and people can't get out of it on a mobile, then you're losing an awful lot of people from browsing around your site. So yeah, that is a really key thing. Another one that we really dislike is auto playing videos on a website as well, especially when they have sound, and you're sitting there and like on a train or something, in a nice quiet place, thinking, I'll just have a look through this person's website, and their video starts blaring out and you're like, where is that? Trying to close it. So yeah, that's a bit of a no as well.
And one other thing as well is, even if you've got a lovely website, the one mistake people make is they think, well, that's it. It's like a painting on a wall. I've done it. That's done. Job done. They leave it and they never iterate it. They never readjust it for their client avatar that's changing over time. They never put anything else on there, and it becomes static and boring and irrelevant, especially with photos and things. If you've had a photo shoot done and then 20 years later, there's still the same photos on there. So yeah, iteration is key. We say with your website, it's a moving target, basically.
The photo thing. You know what? I booked a speaker years ago, and we sent the photos to the client, and the client sent a car to pick the speaker up, and I got this phone call from the speaker saying, where's my car? Where's my car? And I'm ringing the car company. I'm standing here in the airport. Can't see him. His photo was something like 25 years out of date. And he said, I can see his father. Oh dear. So yeah, the photo thing. So you went through quite a lot of things. The mobile thing, absolutely so spot on, and that pop-up thing and the video, all of that, really great advice. And that whole thing about what do people do when you go on the website and you don't understand what business they're in, or it's so cryptic. You've actually, somebody said to me, you've got to explain it as if you're explaining it to a 7-year-old in the first instance, so it's so easy to understand. And I think that really does make sense, doesn't it? All really excellent advice. And obviously your templates take care of all of that. They look fabulous on mobile, they work. And you mentioned speed. I know that I give up on websites if the website's too slow. What causes a website to be slow, by the way? What is it that's part of the problem?
The main culprit is normally image size. So if you've got a very high quality, very big image, or a set of images on your site, maybe you save them in the wrong format as like a PNG file instead of a JPEG. Those are the heavyweight culprits. If you've got all your images optimized and they're all fine and your site's still slow, it'll be down to the service that you're using or the server that your site sits on, and maybe it's just not very high end and it's struggling. A lot of people will go for kind of cheap web hosting and it's on a shared sort of environment. So if there's another client on that server who's using up all the resources, then it will slow your site down. It's like if you've got a computer and you're running a video, if you're trying to do something else at the same time, the whole thing's going to sort of clog to a halt. So it's the same thing with servers, because they're essentially computers.
So cheap hosting may not be a good solution. So we've got a comment here from John. Hello, John. John Burns saying, very interesting discussion about website design and development. Super. If you have any questions, John, throw them in the comments. We're very happy to take questions. That's really interesting about speed. The other thing I found, which is ridiculous in this day and age, but I often find that I go to a website and it's not secure. And you're thinking, well, surely in this day and age, everybody knows it has to be a secure website for people to stay there, but also for it to be picked up by the search engines, surely.
Yeah, so SSL or HTTPS with a little padlock in the browser bar, that was a standard just for e-commerce probably 4 or 5 years ago, but then Google brought it in as basically a search metric. So your site has to have a security certificate on it now, so an SSL certificate. Otherwise, you're going to get the kind of non-secure messages popping up in all the various browsers. And if you've got e-commerce, you 100% have to have it anyway, just from a data point of view. But SSL certificates come as standard now. So if your site's still not running on secure certificates, then it should be easy enough to fix. And there are free versions of SSL certificates, so it's not like it's going to cost you any money either.
But it's really important. I mean, my browser actually won't even let me go onto a site that's not secure. It just says, go back, go back. So it's like, okay, all right, step away from the website. Well, there was something else that you mentioned I wanted to come back to now. Oh, yes, updating the website regularly, that somebody will do a website and then they'll think, oh, God, that was really hard work. I can't look at it anymore and I can't do any more updates. But actually, it is important to be doing updates regularly, isn't it? For search engines, for keeping the website optimized. What's the easiest way to do that, would you say?
So there are a few ways that you can be putting regular new content on there. I mean, we feel it is really useful to have a blog on your website if you have the time to do that. For many reasons. Not only is it quite a simple way of getting regular content out there, and we would always say that commit to doing it as regularly as you know you can do. So don't think, right, I'm going to blog every week if you know that's unrealistic for the time that you can commit to it. If you can only do once a month, commit and do it once a month. But it's also good because it shows your expertise as well. And it's a way of driving new people there. You're just putting information content, informative content out there and interesting content out there that people are going to see. If you share it, then they're going to come and see what you do. And it's a great way of driving traffic to your website. So blogs are a brilliant way of doing it. But if you don't have the time to commit to that, we always say if you're getting testimonials or reviews, they're fantastic to be putting on your website whenever you've got them. Again, it's great to put a little calendar reminder in, like for once a month, saying, oh yeah, pop my new testimonials onto my website. So that's really good. And then just sort of keeping an eye on it. So if your services have changed slightly, just tweak the copy to make that apparent. If you've got a new product, make sure that you've put it on there, and just having a look at your about copy, or if you have a featured in section, if you've done something new, add it in. It's just really important to be doing those things, not just because Google likes to see new content going on there, and so it helps from an SEO point of view, but also because quite often if people are researching a service or they're looking for a speaker, they're not going to necessarily contact you first time they come to your website. So they're going to have a look at you, they're going to go and have a look at a load of other people, and then they might come back to your website again. And then if in that time they've seen that there's a new blog post there or a new testimonial, or they've been featured in another podcast, that just looks really good to that person, that you're actively doing things and you're actively keeping a website up. It just creates a really good impression.
Yeah, they trust you, don't they? They trust that you're actually still there and doing stuff. So let's talk about what the key things are that a speaker should have on their website. What are the important pieces, would you say? And I'll probably interfere here because I can't help myself.
Yeah, so obviously you want to have a homepage on there. So on the homepage, we recommend a kind of what we call a hero area. So the first section you see before they scroll, it should have a kind of a key statement in there about who they are, what they do, who they serve. And also, if possible, we'll have a button on there that which brings up a show reel or pop up, something that's going to see them in action. Because obviously the medium of speaking is very kind of visual. People want to hear people, want to see people, want to see their expertise. So that's where the show reel comes in really handy. We always sort of recommend having two buttons on that hero area. One that kind of takes an action, shows them what to do, possibly as a buy button. In the case of a speaker, I'd recommend the show reel. The other one would be a contact button. So, you want to have two ways of them sort of engaging with the page. Traditionally speaking, one would be kind of like a buy my thing, and the second one would be, okay, well, don't buy my thing, but sign up for this thing instead. So at least you're getting them on your email list. It's slightly different for a speaker. Testimonials are also really important for your speaker site as well. So it's kind of up to you how you do it. We recommend putting testimonials in the context of each page, so it actually makes sense for that page rather than just having a testimonials page with 100 testimonials, which is great, but it doesn't have context. And you want to see people having the context, because the decision makers booking people in for a speaking gig, they want to see that things have actually had an impact and that those things are in context. And still on the homepage, if you've got a section for other show reels, if you've got more than one, that's good, or other sort of speaking engagements that you've been able to film. Also, what's really important on the speaker site is your kind of happy clients, the people that you've done things for. They could be big brand names, they could be important people, but if you're kind of listing the logos on there, then that just shows kind of authority and gravitas, and that you're experienced, and that the big guys are booking you. If you've got a book or a download or something, a download panel is quite useful in there, something to sort of, again, cement your authority or get people onto your email list. And then like a little bit of an about blurb as well is also useful on the homepage, because really with homepages, they're more kind of signposting mechanisms. So you're kind of pushing people to the right parts of the site. On top of that, really for sort of a speaker template, it's good to have website, I should say. It's good to have a page that's all about you as a speaker. So everything that you've done, somewhere if someone's here, maybe a keynote, again, more testimonials that are in sort of context, the kind of topics that you cover. Also, if you've got any books or resources, they're useful to have as well. So again, they cement authority. And if you've got a book that you're trying to sort of push and sell, then an individual book page is useful as well. On top of that, resources are good. So we have a lot of speakers that we know that we've met primarily through you, actually, Maria, and they've said that a lot of the time they're sending out their press packs individually, like a Dropbox link or a Google Drive link, or they're sending out their intro scripts on emails. What we recommend on your speaker website is to leverage that and make it easy. You just send someone to your resource page. They can go there, they can download a zip file of your press pack, your photos, see your intro script, and then see short bio, a medium bio, and a long bio. And also, if there's a video intro, they can download as well. And across all of those pages, there should be a really key contact point as well. So they should at all points be able to contact you as soon as they're kind of ready to engage. And like you said, if you've got time, a blog's helpful. If you can write things that are on your topic to cement you as a thought leader, they're useful to have as well.
And if you don't have time for a blog, then if you are able to put on recordings of speaking gigs that you've done that you're allowed to use on your website, then putting those in some kind of sort of blog type setup with just a few kind of lines about what it's about. So again, there's some written content there that makes it easier for Google to see it, but you are also adding that new content without actually having to put a huge amount of time into doing lots of writing. That could be quite good too.
Well, of course, as suspected, Chris, that was fantastic synopsis. We've done a few of these together, so brilliant, brilliant. I want to come back to that resources page idea where you have the downloads for a booker with all that content. What's wonderful about that, of course, is that if you keep your website up to date, which is you've only got one place to keep it up to date, then anybody who books you will always be getting the latest material that they need. And I would have on there also like technical requirements or any travel requirements. So everything is there that you need. And if you don't want it public, because I did actually have a lady, I was working with a female speaker who said, I don't want to have that kind of stuff public. So what you do is you could have a login there where they have to log in order to download. She said, I don't want my photos to be public. I don't want, because whatever reason, certain privacy issues, and that's absolutely fine. So that's quite useful. And of course, you're driving traffic to your website if you're asking them to come and download it from there, which is great. But the other thing I love from a psychological point of view, when a client sees that a speaker has that page, that they're sending you to a page to download their stuff, you're thinking, wow, this person's really professional. They're really busy. And so that's really, really good. So I love that. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You're also going to be sharing a link to a handout, or in fact, we're going to be sharing a link to one of your handouts, aren't we? Where they actually get a website blueprint. And that's called, what is it? readysteadywebsites.com/blueprint, where you literally explain, and you should be charging for this incidentally, because I've got a copy of it. It's fantastic. Where you literally explain how to create that website that we've talked about.
Yeah.
So well, we might have over delivered on that one.
You have. Grab it now before they reduce it.
So that's one of the things we're thinking about, is actually reducing it and having it as an ebook that we're going to sell. But at the moment it's basically, so we run a lot of challenges, perfectly planned website challenges. We've had probably over 1,000 people through those challenges now, and it's basically all of our expertise over the last 10 years of running our company, but sort of 20 years of being in the digital world and building websites. And we've poured all of that into like an easy to digest kind of step-by-step process for planning out your website. So by the end of this kind of blueprint document, you've got to the stage where you've planned it all out. You know what your ideal client is. You know the pages that you want. You've got your shopping list of functionality that you want and design that you want. And then you can then go off and make an informed decision on the kind of platform that you need to choose to then have your website on. Obviously, we hope that people will have a look at Ready Steady Websites as part of that process, but it's to help them make that decision. Maybe Wix is a good fit, maybe Squarespace is a good fit, maybe they need to go something for like Kajabi or something that's sort of an all-in-one platform. So that's the idea of it, really. So they're kind of as clued up as they possibly could be before they spend any money.
Yeah, for speakers, I think the speaker template is fantastic. As you know, we recommend it, and we've had some really beautiful websites created there, and I'm happy to share, and if anybody wants to see examples of them, brilliant. One of the other things that you do, it's not about just a website. You also deal with memberships, and I really like the idea of a membership, because it's like a recurring income, which especially when you're in a pandemic and things are a little bit all over the place, and you actually live that because you have a membership yourselves, so you actually live it as well as provide it. Talk to me about the thinking behind a membership, how it works, the benefits, and how it works on Ready Steady Websites.
So from a membership point of view, Ready Steady Websites runs as a membership. So even though it's like a platform as such, where you get a website and your hosting's included and everything, we run it a bit more like a membership because we actually look after everyone, all of our members. So that's why we call it a membership. But also we've got our own website mentoring membership as well that sits off the back of that, which is a slightly different thing, where you don't need to be a Ready Steady Websites plan person. The idea of a membership site really is to generate that kind of recurring revenue in a kind of group format. So you're selling the same thing multiple times, whether that's you're doing a weekly video or a monthly video or a toolkit, whatever you want to call it, whether you're putting people through like a 6-month or a 12-month cohort, or whether you're getting people in to do a course first and then they join the membership afterwards. There's loads of different ways of doing it, but the idea is that you can generate recurring revenue from it. So that's why we came up with the idea of membership site templates. It was always on the plan. So when we first launched Ready Steady Websites, we knew we were going to build membership site templates. So quite often they'll link together. So that's how it works.
And like the people we were finding ourselves working with, like the coaches and the entrepreneurs, they work one-to-one with people, but they wanted to work in a way that they could support lots of people. Again, so a bit like we said at the start, where we created Ready Steady Websites to be able to provide our service to people at a lower price point. It's another way to help people who can't perhaps afford one-to-one coaching, but actually they could benefit from a membership, and you can look after them in a membership through giving them some kind of teaching, whether it's through a course or a monthly video or however you want to do it, but also perhaps having group calls with people, so that you can nurture them that way, or having some kind of community aspect so people can come in and ask you questions, or you can have ask me anything hours and things like that. So you can do lots of different things with a membership. And we created our membership sites as a sort of a simple way of creating a membership site, because I mean, Chris mentioned Kajabi a minute ago, but there are lots of platforms out there like Kartra and Kajabi that sort of do everything, but can be very overwhelming for people, can be quite a steep learning curve for people to get their head around how to use the tech and everything in them. So we created our membership site so that they would provide the functionality that really is needed for a membership, but isn't over the top, doesn't have too much stuff going on with it. And again, they get our personalized support to help them with creating it and putting it all together and ongoing, because memberships are one of those things that as you get more members, they're likely to change and adapt. Perhaps you'll need 2 tiers of membership rather than 1. And so having that ongoing support when you're making all those changes, so it's not too overwhelming and scary, I think is quite a key thing for our members, especially at the moment now that they're sort of a year down the line of their membership and they are making tweaks and changes. So that's why we did it, really.
Brilliant. And do you think that memberships are going to continue to be something that's popular going forward?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're changing a little bit. So I think we've seen a bit of a trend, and this is just across multiple industries and multiple services, that people want a more personal connection now. So they don't want the kind of computer says no type environment. They want to kind of actually feel like they're engaging with someone. So I think the trend sort of moving forwards from this point is going to be some kind of group element, some kind of one-to-one connection, whether it's on Zoom or however it works. So I think, yes, there's still a place for membership sites. Yes, they're still going to be really popular. But I think if you're expecting to just bung out a video once a month and have hundreds of people join your membership, it's probably going to be harder to do that now than it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. But it doesn't mean that they're sort of dying off. They're just evolving like everything else is online. A lot of the people that we see, they're selling courses off the back end of their membership site. So they'll get something in on a course, and then they'll have what's called a back end membership, which helps them apply what they've learned in the course. But equally, you can do it the other way around as well, and have a membership that they can enhance their skills by doing courses along their journey as well. So there's loads of ways you can dice up sort of recurring revenue membership model, but the personal touch is definitely going to become more and more important for people.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, before we wrap up, we have a question from John Burns, and the question is, how important is it to keep people on your website rather than sending to another social media platform, e.g. Facebook or LinkedIn?
So I would say that you want everyone to be coming to your website and sticking on your website, really. I think because, I mean, Chris mentioned earlier building an email list, and because of the lack of control you have over the social media platforms, because you could be booted out of Facebook or Instagram without any notice, as we have seen happening to people recently, we recommend that you try and get people to your website and keep them there to take the action. So whether you are sending them initially to look at a blog post, but then within that blog post, you're mentioning a free download that they could get. So then they go and have a look at that, and then they sign up to be on your email list. Or whether, you've got a product that you would like them to buy, whatever it is, you want all of that to be going through your website. And whenever you've got something that you want to meet people to find out more about, I'd be sending them to your website as well, because the more traffic you send to your website, the better that is, because Google keeps seeing it. And then that's going to improve your SEO, and then you're going to start appearing more organically in Google searches. Now, don't get me wrong, that's going to take a lot of time. It's not something that's just going to happen just like that. I'm on the first page of Google, everyone's main aspiration for their business, it seems. But, it is really important to be having your website as your hub, is how we tend to refer to it, so that you are sending everything to your website. Using social media is great. We are on social media a lot, but a majority, not all, some of our posts on social media are just sort of social, chatty and fun, but a majority of our posts, we have then got a call to action on them, sending people to somewhere on our website to go and have a look at something. And that's how we feel social media should be used, really, as a way of filtering people to your website.
Yeah, it's kind of the other way around. Social media should be pointing to your website. And the only point really that we want people to jump off of our site and go on a social media platform is if that's their preferred method for contacting us. So we've got a Facebook page, we've got a Instagram, we've got YouTube, we've got LinkedIn. We have got LinkedIn, and
we both have LinkedIn. Yes.
You do.
That's the social media, okay.
But that's how people go. If they're on LinkedIn all the time, they can message on LinkedIn. If they're on Instagram all the time, they can message on Instagram. If they like Facebook Messenger, they can message on Messenger. So that's the only reason that you'd send someone away from your website, really.
Yeah, we do
Brilliant.
say that. Like, it is important that from a contact point of view, you do give lots of people choice to contact you. You don't make them book a call. You don't make them send an email. You give them those choices because you want them to feel comfortable getting in touch. You want them to take that next step into finding out more about you.
Brilliant, 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 brilliant. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you, that you on all of those platforms, your website is readysteadywebsites.com. The blueprint is readysteadywebsites.com/blueprint. And you've also got a 10-day master your membership site coming up, which is readysteadywebsites.com/MMS. And what we will do is we'll make sure that all of these links are on the Speaking Business TV website, and I'll also put them in on the LinkedIn so you've got them. But I think all of those sounds brilliant. Definitely download that blueprint. That blueprint is phenomenal, really good. You've also got a tip to share with us, or a tool that you guys use in your business that keeps you perfectly organized. What's your tool?
So there's two things that keep us perfectly organized. So between us, we use Asana. We there's quite a lot of sort of project planning sort of software out there that you can use. I know lots of people are fans of Trello. I personally cannot get on board with Trello at all. It confuses me so much. But we really do like Asana. That's the one we use where we've got our to-do lists and we both can see them and see what's being ticked off and everything. But I personally like a paper planner. And so I use the Perfectly Planned planner, which is created by Carrie & Co. And it's just a fantastic planner. If you like to time block your day each day, if you like to plan out your week, it helps you set and track your goals for the year. And since we have been using that planner, our business has definitely grown much more quickly than it did before. So yeah, the combination of the Perfectly Planned planner with Asana works for us to keep our business on track.
As well.
Oh, and post-its.
I can see the post-its. We can see the post-its. They have to be pink post-its, though, by the looks of things. Okay.
Oh, he's got
lots of
blue,
colours.
green and yellow on there. Yeah.
Brilliant. Listen, guys, thank you so much. You've given us so much great value. Really appreciate it. Always wonderful to see you. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves.
Yes,
We have. Thank
you.
you.
Keep talking amongst yourselves while I find the video that I need to show. There you go. How cool is that? How professional is that? James, come back. Thank you very much. We will see you next week.
Bye.